Hey there, welcome back to another data automation video in the Lazy Data Dev channel. And today what we're going to do is to merge multiple sheets that all have the same structure into a new workbook. I think this is a common corporate requirement to work with multiple sheets or sometimes multiple files. Maybe in a future video we will merge multiple files, but in this example we're going to merge the data from 25 sheets. This is the data that I downloaded from Kaggle. It's one of the Spotify datasets, and I believe it has 8,500 something records. And I have split it into 25 parts. And each sheet has a name that starts with part underscore. And if I scroll to the last one, it should be part 25. And as I mentioned, they all have the same structure, which makes the exercise a lot easier. But maybe in a future video, I will also show you how to merge files if they don't have the same structure. So I'm gonna click Alt F11 to launch the Visual Basic Editor, and yeah, as you can see, I have quite so many objects here under the Microsoft Excel objects part. And let's insert a module. Now start writing a subroutine which I will call merge worksheets. And I'm gonna declare a variable ws as worksheet, as I'm gonna use it to loop through the worksheets collection. And actually let's write the loop directly. So I'm gonna write for each worksheet in this workbook.worksheets, and let's simply print the names of all sheets. So I'm gonna write debug.print ws.name. So if I now click run, we'll see that we have a lot of worksheets. The first one is Spotify data clean, and everything else is part underscore number. So I'm not going to do anything with the Spotify data worksheet. So I'd like to not loop through it. And one way to exclude it is to write something like that. If worksheet.name is different than Spotify underscore whatever. Another way to do it is to only match those worksheets that start with part underscore, and I prefer to do this because who knows, maybe in real world project you will have like 5 sheets that you would like to exclude. So here I will write if not ws.name, and I'm gonna use the like function, which allows us to use a wildcard. So if it doesn't start with part underscore, then end if. And I like to go here to the next iteration. I think we practiced this in one of the previous videos. So I'm gonna write here go to next iteration. And just before the end of the loop, I'm gonna write next iteration colon. And now anything we write here will be skipped if this condition is not met. So if I now write here debug.print ws.name, we shouldn't have here Spotify data clean in the immediate window now. So I'm gonna click run. And now the only sheets that will be processed here in the loop will be the ones that match this condition here. So their name should start with part underscore. So The first thing that I would like to do, because obviously we will need to copy the data, but we will need to copy the header row only once. And for this, I'm going to set to declare a object variable for one of the 25 sheets, and I'm gonna use the first one, right? So I'm gonna write here dim, not sure which name to use, but let's say example worksheet as worksheet, and I'm gonna set the example to be equal to this workbook dot worksheets part 1. Then, as I mentioned, all files have the exact same structure, but instead of hard coding the header from A to column O, I would like to dynamically get the last column, right? So I can declare a variable here, which I will call last co, and it's going to be of type integer. And here I will write that last co equals to example worksheet dot cells on the first row from columns dot count. We're gonna move to the left and we're gonna get the column. And if I now test this last co, since it's letter O, I expect that this should return 15. Exactly. And to get the header range, maybe I should set another variable. I should declare another variable, which I will call header range as range. And after I have found the last co, I can set the header range, because it's an object, to be equal to the range in worksheet example, which is part 1. And the first cell will be on row 1 and column 1, meaning cell A1. And the last cell in that range will be in row 1 and column last co. Maybe I should extend here. I should enlarge the Visual Basic Editor in order to see better. And to check that what I have written is correct, maybe I will select the header range. So I will start clicking F8 to debug. And I believe that it's correct because Excel has selected the range of cells between A1 and O1, right? So now we can copy this and paste it into the new workbook, which I haven't added yet. And this is what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna declare a variable WB, which will be work of type workbook. And here I will write workbooks.add. This will add a new workbook. And I will also want to declare the one worksheet in that new workbook, because we'll need to use it in order to paste there. So I will probably simply call it new worksheet as worksheet. And I will set here new worksheet to be equal to, actually this should be set WB to be equals to workbooks.add. And now it's going to be set new worksheet to be equal to wb.worksheets1, meaning the first worksheet in that new workbook. And just to see that this will work, I can simply type in some gibberish. So new worksheet that maybe range from A1 to C5. And I will just add some gibberish here to see what's gonna happen now. So if I click run, and if there aren't any mistakes, Excel will add dynamically a new workbook, and all cells from A1 to C5 in that new workbook will get this gibberish value. So let's try it. All right, it seems that it's working. But what I can do now is to directly copy paste that range. So I can write getter range dot copy destination. If I can spell it correct, destination will be new worksheet cells 1 meaning cell A1 of that new worksheet. If I now click run, I assume that Excel will add a new workbook and it will copy this header into the worksheet of that new workbook. So let's click run, and that's exactly what's happening. Again, I'm gonna close this for now and not save it. And now what we are left to do is to loop through the sheets and dynamically identify the range that we need to copy. I didn't mention in the beginning, but all sheets have different number of rows. They have the same structure, but the number of rows is variable. So we will need to find this first. And therefore I will add yet another variable, which I will call last row as long. And we will also need another variable. And there are many ways to do this. Maybe we can do this without a variable, but I think it's gonna be more understandable if we declare another variable which will indicate where to paste the data in that new worksheet. So maybe I should call this next row, meaning this will be the next available row in that new worksheet. And it's also going to be of data type long. And maybe probably one last variable will be the range that we will copy. So I will call it copy range as range. So here we've already started writing a loop. And before finding the range, we will have to find the last row of that sheet that we are currently processing. So I can write here last row equals ws dot cells dot rows dot count in column A. And again, we can use the end property, but this time instead of Excel to left, it's going to be Excel up and get the row. And we can set the copy range to be equal to the range in that sheet that we're processing, where the first cell on that range will be on the second row because we no longer need to copy the header. On the second row and first column, and the last cell of that range will be on the last row and our last column variable. And just to see that this is correct, I will select that range and debug it. But before selecting it, we should activate the sheet that we're processing, and now I can write copy range.select. Now let's start clicking F8 and see what's going to happen. Here, Excel will add a new workbook. Now the header range will be copied and pasted here. Now we're gonna start processing each worksheet in our file that starts with part underscore, whose name starts with part underscore. The first one will be omitted because it was Spotify something. And now, according to this row, the first part 1 sheet has 325 rows. It's gonna set the copy range to this part here, and now it should activate it. And when I click select, let's see what range it has selected. Exactly until the last row, from cell A2 to O and whatever the last row is. So if I keep on clicking F8, now it's gonna go to the second worksheet and it's gonna do the same. And here we have 359 rows. Let's proceed to the next one. Here we have 315 rows. If I hover the mouse on the last row variable, we can see that that is exactly the case. So I will reset now the execution and get rid of these two lines of code. And now we are ready to copy the range, but the question is, where exactly do we paste it? So we will have to dynamically get the next available row. And that's why I declared the second variable, which I believe I called next row. So the next row will be in that new worksheet. And again, we're gonna do almost the same. Rows.count in column A dot end Excel up dot row, and we can directly add one here, right? So I think if we now write copy range dot copy and set the destination argument to be in that new worksheet, and the cell will be the next row variable here, and the column index will be 1. And I think, yeah, let's first debug it. So I'm gonna click F8 a few times just to see what's happening. So yeah, we can see now that the next row here is 2 because the first row is the header. So now if I click F8, we're gonna get the first part, which I believe had 325 rows exactly. And if I keep on pressing F8, now we can see that the next row is 326. So if I click F8 now, we should have here the data from worksheet parts underscore 2. And I believe it works perfect. So I'm gonna close this new workbook and run the process. I'm gonna click run. And I think it's completed. You know, maybe in a real world project, first of all, obviously this is just for demonstration purposes. In a real world project, I would probably split this process into 3 parts, make it more maintainable. And also what's good practice in my opinion is in the end to write some message to your user. So maybe message box. You know, in this case, I can hard code 25 sheets merged successfully. Obviously, in a real world project, this number will be calculated dynamically, but just to test it, let's run the process once again. Yeah, and it shows a message box, so your users knows that the process is completed successfully. And let's also check and verify that we have the same number of rows. 8,583. I think here if I activate the Spotify data clean sheet, yeah, we have exactly the same number of rows. So yeah, that's a example of combining multiple sheets that I guess can save a lot of manual work, because who knows, instead of 25, those could be 250 sheets that had to be merged. And like I said, in one of the next videos, we will do a more difficult example where the structure is not the same. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please comment those in the comment section. And also if you have suggestions or ideas what videos to make next, then please let me know. And I'll see you on the next one.